very short slides just to add some more information, and all the rest then is really on the software itself. So now I should first try to share my screen. So let me have a look. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible, sir.
You see Polysun?
Yes, sir. I can see Polysun, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Just to make sure that it is the right screen. So what I want to show you first, of course, I want to present myself. My name is Andreas Wolf. I'm International Sales Manager for Vela Solaris. Vela Solaris is the name of the company which produces Polysun, the software Polysun. Our company is based in Winterthur in Switzerland. And the first software developments have already taken place in the 70s, and the brand Polysun is available since 1992. Our company, Vela Solaris, has been founded in 2006, and it is a spin-off company of the Institute for Solar Technology, SPF, of the University for Applied Sciences, Rapperswil. Today, this university is incorporated in the Ostschweizer Fachhochschule, so that means the University for Applied Sciences of Eastern Switzerland. Our software is exclusively made in Switzerland, but it is worldwide distributed in more than 40 countries, and we also have the software available in 12 languages. You can switch from one language to the other at any moment. Our company doesn't only sell the software, but we offer also services and consulting in the field of energy system simulations. And what is really a very important part of Polysun is that we focus very much on the systems, not just on the components. Because it's important how the single components interact with each other, and only a good system really makes renewable energy efficient. Therefore, we focus very much on the systems. Our software contains about 1,000 templates for system templates. I will show them to you in a moment. And also it's interesting that you can combine different technologies. It's not just a software about solar thermal or about photovoltaics or about heat pumps, but you can combine these technologies with each other. And that's, of course, very important, because you will never be able to cover your complete energy demand by one and only technology. As far as I know, many of you are coming also from universities. For universities, we also have special offers. The academic licenses are much cheaper than the commercial licenses, so please contact IndiaSoft for that. It is very important to use the software not just for research, but especially for teaching, because your students in the beginning, especially when they start their studies, have no real idea about the energy systems. But with the software, you can explain them to them much better how energy systems work. And therefore, Polysun is really interesting for teaching. In Europe, we have many universities which use Polysun for teaching. So now I would like to pass on directly to the software, because obviously that is why I'm here. So you should see now the screen. At the beginning, when you use Polysun for the first time, the screen is not really all that interesting because now we still don't see the graphical user interface. What also Rishikesh has shown to you was several screenshots of the systems. We will see them in the moment. Now we are just starting because we are using now Polysun for the very first time. So we start usually with the wizard. The wizard is a starting help, is an assistant, a project assistant. It's not really what Polysun is about, but this way you can start a project. And you can, usually it pops up automatically, but you can also start it here from the top. And then you should first select the location. You can select the location from a map or from the database. So we have worldwide weather data implemented already in the software. So you can choose here the continent, you can choose here the country, and then you can choose here the city. So you see where you have many possibilities here. But if you don't find your city, or if you want to go, for example, into the mountains, then it's good to open the map to open the map. This is OpenStreetMap. It's not Google Maps, but it works pretty much in the same way. You can search for a location, or you can zoom in. And then you can also choose your location from here. And you can, of course, as you see, you can zoom in much further. I mean, this is really very, very detailed. And this is especially interesting if you are in the mountains. So I go back again, and I go, for example, in the mountains, because then the netto horizon will be taken into account. And this we will also see in a moment. So, for example, we say that we are now, if you get closer, you see here the mountain peaks. You see the brown mountain peaks. And so let's say now, for example, we are in this city here. We confirm this. And then you can see here the mountains, the netto horizon, which is automatically taken into account. So if you have shading issues, this will be simulated. So once you have selected your location, you click on continue. And as I have mentioned, we have an enormous amount of templates. This filter can be very helpful to find the templates in the beginning. And now we want to start with a simple solar thermal system only for domestic hot water. Later on, we will look also at other templates. And when you hover the mouse here over the systems, then you see the different system layouts. So in this moment, you should not select your template according to the components, but you should select it according to the system layout. So now we choose simply the first one, you click on continue, and then you can define your domestic hot water demand, but we can do this also in a more detailed way later on. So I will show this to you also then on the graphical user interface. And then Polysun will suggest to you a certain number of collectors. Well, this is just a very small system. So if we make, for example, here the daily hot water demand larger, 400 liters at 50 degrees, and then we continue, you see, then the suggestion is different. Then you can choose your solar thermal collector from the database here. As you can see, you have here hundreds of solar thermal collectors. They all have been tested. If you don't find your collector, additionally, you can also enter your collector. by selecting a line, copying a line, and changing the marked line. So that means you can work really with any solar thermal collector you like. You have orientation. You see the graph here. Orientation 0 is south, plus 90 is east, minus 90 is west, 180 would be north. Of course, in the northern hemisphere, that's not interesting, but in the southern hemisphere, this is interesting. So if you also are interested in simulating a system like in Australia, for example, then of course this would be necessary. So then orientation, tilt angle, 0 would be flat roof, 90 would be facade, 45 so would be in between. So this you should adapt, of course, to the conditions of your roof, to the conditions of the location. Then Polysun will suggest to you a certain collector number. You can override this value if you don't agree. It will also recommend a tank volume. You can then go here into the tank catalog. You can click here on volume and then choose a tank which you think is suitable. For example, here we say 400 liter. It was suggested 450, but we think, well, we want to take only 400. Then you click on continue. Then you can do the same with the heat generator for backup heating. And then you click on accept. And as soon as you click on accept, the first simulation will be done. The first simulation will be running. And you see now currently the weather data are downloaded. The weather data have been downloaded. Now you see the green bar here on the right bottom side. And that means currently the simulation is running, and then we will get automatically the first results. But before we talk about the results, you must know that, as you can see it from here, we have a wide array of results. So you see, you cannot just view the results in one way. You have many different ways how you can view results. So I will show this to you in a moment, how you can view them. But first, I want to present to you the graphic user interface, because that is what you can see here. That is what you really work with in Polysun. And you can see you have here on the left top, you have first information about the location of the system. We have here as you know, we have chosen this location in the mountains. But of course, you can also change again the database. You can change the location again here. If you click here on edit, you can see again the net horizon. From that location, you see the exact sun path of that of the location. So this will be always adapted to the location which you choose. So if we had chosen, for example, a location in southern India, this would be, of course, totally different. And you can also add here buildings as obstructions and then consider the shading through that. And then you have got here a list of the system diagrams which you can simulate. Now, of course, currently we have only one because we have selected it from the wizard, as you well know. But you can, for example, also easily copy the system here. Now, of course, we can rename it. We just name it too, but you can give it any name, of course. And now you have got the same system twice. And now you could, for example, do adaptations to the system very easily by clicking on the system. So practically what happens here is, if you want to interact with this system, you have to double click, then a dialog window opens. Then you can do your settings here. You can, for example, change the number of collectors, and you get back into the catalog where you can choose your collector or where you can create your own collector. You can also this is not working only for the collector, this works for any component. So for example, you want to exchange the tank, you want to try out a larger or smaller tank, then you can go here into the tank, you choose another tank, and then you simulate again. Or you want to choose another boiler, for example, or you want to substitute the boiler with a heat pump. It just works in exactly the same way. You can even click on every pipe. You can make the pipes longer or shorter. You can change the diameter. You can change the insulation. And then, of course, for example, calculate the heat losses, which you have in the single loops. You can also work here on the hot water demand. So you can change also the settings for the hot water demand. We have seen this very briefly in the wizard, but you can do that also directly here, of course. And so you see, and then of course, when you have changed one value, you can compare the systems. You can go, for example, back to the menu results, and you can go to system comparison, and you will see the results of this system concerning the energy balance compared with two systems. So this can be very easy and very well done. And as I said, especially also students will really understand how systems work. So you see, one way how you load a system is from the wizard. Another way is by copying it. And another way is from the template list down here. You see how many templates you have here. Well, these are, at the moment you can't see them, but these are only 5 folders. Then you can, for example, open these folders. You see subfolders filled with many templates. And then, for example, you can open these folders, and then when you scroll with the mouse over them, you see again so many different systems, so many different hydraulics, which you can try out and which you can see which one works best for your system. So, for example, here you see we have, for example, a system with heating and with pool. Also here, so if you like that, you can, for example, click on this system. Then the software will ask you if you want to add this system to the project, and you can say yes. And then you will see it up here, and you will be able to simulate it. So you see how you can create templates. And with the designer version, we have standard, designer, and educational. Educational is the same as designer. You can even edit the systems. You could, for example, say, okay, I like that system, but I want to delete, for example, this relay valve because I don't need it. It's a mixing valve here for domestic hot water. And then you could say, okay, I delete it. And then, of course, you have to delete also the other components, which we don't need anymore. We reconnect the pipes. And of course, we also don't need the controller anymore because that was a controller for the mixing valve. So we delete that as well. And we can simulate the system again without the mixing valve. Or you can also obviously add new components. For example, very easy, you add a PV system. And then you can, for example, simulate this system with a PV system. And now, of course, we have to design the PV system. That's clear, that we will see in a moment. But just to tell you, you can practically edit all these systems. So you have already 1,000 systems, but you can additionally edit them. So you have really no limits in that, and you can see how systems work. And for example, solar thermal, of course, is very important, but now also photovoltaics is really very popular. and you might want to see, well, it's better to have, for example, a solar thermal system with a heat pump, or is it better to combine photovoltaics and produce the electricity and then consume it by the heat pump? So you see, you have many possibilities. For example, we have also systems which have been prepared like that already here. For example, this has no solar thermal, this has the heat pump and the photovoltaic system, and then you might see which one is more convenient. So you can you can work in a very flexible way with Polysun. Also, you might have noticed here, you have got all these boxes here. You see all these boxes, and you see when I hover the mouse on top of them, you see lines. So these boxes are controllers, because obviously one thing is to combine the components hydraulically, that you make a system out of it. Okay, fine. And that would be the work which, for example, the plumber does. Okay, in reality, the plumber does that. But it's not enough. The work of the plumber is not enough. Then you need also the electrician who connects the controllers with the single components, and that's just the same also in Polysun. So we have the plumber here and we have the electrician here, and so you see the lines here. That means the controllers are connected to these components. You see, for example, blue lines, which are inputs, and red lines, which are outputs. So, for example, if you want to simulate a system, you have to place your temperature sensors somewhere, and then you can see here where they are placed. But you can't see it only graphically. If you open the controller, then of course you will see where these temperature sensors are exactly placed and how this system works. I can't go into detail on that because that obviously would require too much time, but you know about it now, that this is possible. And then of course, if you purchase a Polysun license, then we can have a training course, and then we can go into this further. Okay. So this is how you can generally work with Polysun. So what you see on the right side is always interactive. It's never just a picture. It's always interactive. And that's very, very important. And moreover, you have got here on the top, you have got 6 menus. Well, the first one is project, open project, closed project, safe project. I think that will be clear for everybody what that means. Then we have system diagram. That's also not so important because you mainly work with the system diagrams on the left top side, which we have already seen. Then we have the results, and that indeed we will have a look at that in a moment, because the results are, as you see, there are many different results which you can view, so this will be interesting. Then you have the catalogs. The catalogs means the databases. So you have lots of databases here. You can also, as I have already mentioned, add your own components. So this is open to any user. Then you have options. Well, that might be not so interesting now, but what I can tell you here with settings, you can change the language here. You can change the units. You can change the currency. So, for example, if you want to simulate a system not only from the energetic point of view, but if you want also to simulate it from the economical point of view, then you can also change the currency here. Then there are other settings, but now, as I said, I can't talk about everything, but that might be the most interesting. And then we have here in the last menu, we have the user manual. So the user manual is currently a PDF file. That means you can read it at any time, also independently from Polysun. It's about 300 pages long. So you have got lots of information in this user manual. You have here the basic structure, what we are talking about now, photovoltaics, which we'll see in a moment, solar thermal, which we have seen a little bit, then heat pumps, geothermal systems, other components, controllers. You see how important the controllers are, and the simulation results, which I said I want to present to you more in detail, profitability calculation. And then we have also a list of videos which you can start directly from the manual. So you don't have to look for them. You see, this is YouTube, and they start directly. So now I have presented to you in general a little bit the program, you know, that you get an idea in general what Polysun is about. Now, as I said, we should have a closer look at the results. Not just the results for this system, because that is not maybe what is really interesting, but to see how it works with the results, which type of results you can get from Polysun. And after we simulated it the first time, you might recall, we got these simulation results, this overview. This is very rough. So I personally don't like it so much because I can't see so much here. So what I usually prefer is I go into system results directly. And when you go into system results, you can see better how the system works. So you can see here important values, like you see the total energy demand, the total energy consumption. So you see we have both, because the demand is what you need theoretically, but the consumption is what you really need with this system, with the settings which you have done. And then you see, for example, the solar energy supplied to the system. You see the auxiliary energy required from the heat generator. In this case, we have got the gas boiler. And of course, from this, you can calculate, for example, the solar fraction. We have different solar fractions according to different calculations. This is the most common one, the most important one. It will be the solar fraction for the whole system. So you can calculate that. And then, of course, if you are not satisfied, you might want to adapt the system. You can also go further into detail into component results. You see here in component results, you get the details for all the components, because in the first you got the results for the whole system. You get an overview, so you get an idea. Here you get the results for the single components. So if you want to check, for example, here the collector, and of course collector means collector field. It's not just one collector, you know that. So it's a symbol. Then you can see here more in detail. Okay, here we have the solar radiation onto the collector field. We see the thermal output in that case. We can see also, for example, the average temperature of operation, the maximum temperature of operation. We see also the maximum values in total. So we see we have some overheating issues here. You see, indeed, we have stagnation here in September and October. So these are all information which you get here. And if you look, for example, further here into the storage tank, then you can notice here that we have layers. We have in total 12 layers in the storage tank. So we can see here the single layers in the storage tank. And that means the storage tank is really a complex component. It's not just one layer. It has been subdivided in 12 layers, because obviously we must here with these layers, we must simulate the heat stratification inside the tank. And so this we can do through these layers. Now here you see the temperatures again for the single month. Now you might say, well, I'm not really interested in those monthly temperatures. I want to see this more in detail. I want to see the temperatures for the single moments. And then you can open the graphical evaluation. You can choose, for example, a week. So, for example, we could choose week 10, let's say. You can add a curve. You can select here the curve. So, for example, we're interested in the collector field yield in this week. Then we could say we are interested in the storage tank, of course. Here we have again these layers. We're interested in the temperature at a low layer. We are interested, let's see, in the temperature in the top layer, let's say, just to make an example. And then we can see here, for example, what happens in the system. Now it's still not very clear because we have two different units, so we must work with two axes. And also, as you see, the colors are not really well chosen. So we can adapt the colors here that they, well, this we could even leave, but now, well, we have changed it, so it's even clearer. And then you see exactly what's happening here in the system. We could, of course, even change the lines. Now that's not necessary. And you see here we have, for example, 2 very sunny days, and the water is getting quite hot, even in the lower part of the tank. But then in later, when we don't have these sunny days, the temperatures are dropping quite sharply in the lower part of the tank. Of course, in the upper part of the tank, they are kept high thanks to the boiler. And so this is now just one example, but you see here with the graphical analysis, you can really decide what you want to see. You can analyze very much in detail how the system works, and that's of course also very transparent. And if you want to know even more, you can go to the simulation analysis. And in the case of the simulation analysis, you can see this here, that you can even see the temperatures directly on the screen of the single time steps. So you see here exactly what's happening in the system in the single time steps. So you see, for example, here we have the 28th of January at 10 a.m. and 5 minutes and 15 seconds. And we have already simulation time step 16,424. So you can clearly see that it's not an hourly simulation, because you know, of course, and 1 year has 8,760 hours. So here you see how detailed the simulation is. Already at the end of January, we have got simulation time step 16,424. So this is very detailed. And then you can see exactly what's happening. So you see, for example, here we have flow, you see the temperatures, the exact temperatures in the tank, everything you can see here. When you click here on plus, you see also how much time passes from one time step to the next. So it's also very, very transparent, you see. So this is a great tool to do analysis. So you see now, you already get the idea. I think you have a very wide range of results, from very rough to very detailed. And if you have a look at the results overview, the system results, it's more on the rough side to get an overview. But then you have the graphical evaluation and the simulation analysis more for detailed analysis. So you must decide what you are interested in a certain moment. You have also reports. We can open one just to give you an idea, but the report is not really made for you. What I mean is the report is more made for the client, okay? The report is made to present results to the client in an easy way so that you don't have much work, you don't have to put all the results together, but it doesn't help you to analyze. It's more for presentation purposes. And here you can see the system again. You can see the location which we have chosen. You recall that on the map. You see a rough summary of the components, and then only the most important results, those in which usually the client would be interested. So like solar fraction and solar thermal energy to the system. So this is not really for academic purposes. Of course, you can use it anytime, but it's not, the idea is more for commercial purposes. So you see now how generally Polysun works. We have seen a solar thermal system. Of course, we should also see a photovoltaic system. So I go back to the wizard. You can do it also manually, of course, but I will go back to the wizard because it's the first time. I leave the same location, which we have already chosen. And then we have got here now, of course, a different filter setting because we are looking for PV systems. As you have seen, we have also PV systems combined with other technologies, as we have already seen this here. But now, as we do it for the first time, we want to try out a PV system which we like. And then here you can set your PV modules. This is actually the largest catalog of all in Polysun. If I scroll down here and you have a look to the cursor up here on the right side, on the right top side, you see it doesn't even move. So you see this is really enormous. So you can choose your PV module, your preferred PV module here by using the filter, by then clicking on the top, on the header line of the catalog to sort them according to their nominal power, for example. So anyway, you choose your PV module, orientation, tilt angle. That's the same as before. Then you can write here the number of modules. So let's say, for example, 20 can be also 200, 2000. It can, also large systems can be simulated. And then Polysun will suggest to you a suitable inverter. Also here we have a list of manufacturers. You can also again here enter your own inverter if you like. Then you click on continue. The Polysun checks if all the electrical limiting values are correct. That's the case. We click on continue again. And then you can define here the electricity consumption profile. So if you have got, for example, also self-consumption, you can choose here from different profiles. And here you write the annual consumption, then you click on accept. And again, same procedure as last time. After the weather data have been downloaded, a simulation is done. So you will see here in a moment after they have been downloaded that the simulation is carried out. And this works always in this way. You can also work with weather data which you input by yourself. This is also possible, but you can usually it works this way. So and then of course you have also here different results, system results, component results. So that's just the same way again what we have already seen. Now this is more or less to give you a general idea. As I told you here, we have also the combination of thermal and photovoltaic systems, and you have, as I said,
Hello,
one.
Andreas sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Sandeep Joshi sir, I think so. He has having any doubts also.
Yes.
Sandeep
Anyway,
sir, could you unmute
I have
yourself?
arrived. Yes, I have arrived anyway at the end of my presentation. So I think it's anyway now a good moment to give the word to you. And if you have any questions, just ask them, please. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sandeep sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Am I audible there?
Yeah, sir.
My small query regarding the same demonstration regarding solar photovoltaics. I wanted to know, is it possible that if I change the temperature of solar photovoltaic module, can the system give me what is the probable outcome?
Yeah, well, of course, the temperatures of the PV modules are also being calculated, no? Because that depends, of course, on the situation of the system, or on the weather data, on also the rear ventilation. So there are, of course, many settings which you have to do to see if the temperatures. But then if you go, for example, into here photovoltaics, you can, for example, see here the average module temperature, you see here the maximum values. So, and then of course, again, with the graphical evaluation, you can check the module temperature in every moment, not just the average temperature, as you can see it here, or the maximum temperature. So, but you can check the temperature for every moment. So this can be all checked, but the conditions, of course, or the outcome of these temperatures depend upon the conditions of the system.
Yeah, all right, I understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, this software is installed in the 4 GB RAM.
I'm sorry, the software is?
4 GB. Actually, my laptop is the old version, 2013, and in my laptop 4 GB RAM. So can this software is run in the 4 GB RAM software?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I have understood your question correctly. Have you asked if you can install it on your laptop?
Yeah, actually, sir, actually my laptop is old version 2013. In my laptop, 4 GB RAM. So this software is run in those software.
Well, usually there are no special requirements. A normal laptop is sufficient. But maybe you can send to IndiaSoft or to us the exact technical data of your laptop, and we can check. But usually there are no problems. You can install it on almost any laptop. So it's usually there are no problems. And also you have, it's also available for different operating systems. You see, for example, I have got Mac, but you can have Windows, you can have Linux. So it's not only the hardware, which is quite simple, but also the operating system can be different systems.
Okay, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, is the trial version of this tool is available?
Yes, yes.
For how much duration?
Well, I think IndiaSoft can give you this indication, but certainly we can supply to you the trial version, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So please contact IndiaSoft if you are interested in a trial version.
Hello. You can contact IndiaSoft for trial versions, which is for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Yeah. So someone asked that how much days trial version is there. So you can contact IndiaSoft for the trial versions. We will be providing you the trial versions for 30 days.
Yes, yes, I confirm. Yes, it's 30 days. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Any other participants got any questions?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, thank you. And can you also give a minimal support during trial version if we opt for that?
Well, usually
Like any
usually the support is given to who has got a license. But of course, if you have some questions, of course you can ask us these questions. So that's no doubt. We will always answer your questions, and we will look into what are the issues. But then the full support, like concerning also projects and how to work with the software and training and all that can be only done to those who have already a license.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Ajanna, sir, I think so. You are also having any doubt, so you can.
Hello, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir,
Hello?
yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is there any video tutorials available on this software, sir, so that whenever we are doing any simulations out there, so if we got any doubts or any changes in the parameters, is there any video tutorials available?
Yes. There are
Based,
some videos which are free, which you can access even now. You can find them, for example, in the manual, as I told you, here in the user manual I showed you before. We have these videos.
okay.
But then also, I'm not sure if maybe even also this session is registered, is recorded. Sorry, is recorded. So maybe you can get also this to have a look at it later on, or we can provide you something that's no problem. And then there are
Yes,
other.
sir.
It's recorded.
Yes, sir. It's recorded and it will be put it on YouTube, sir. India's of
Wonderful.
Technologies. Yeah.
Wonderful. And then you see that's for information. And then we have training videos. So to get trained into the software, and that's then of course going deeper, and that again is then available for those who have already a license, and some training courses have to be paid, but that we will discuss this then later if you purchase a license.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Anyone having any doubts, be free to ask. Just unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. These are restricted to the standard integrated or the available modules over here in the software, or we can alter it any kind we want.
No, you can I imagine you refer to the components in the databases, no? And as I said, they are all open. You can do whatever you want. You cannot change directly what is inside, obviously, otherwise you could manipulate the software, but you can enter your own data. So you can work also with different components than those which are already inside the software.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone having any doubts? Just be free to ask questions. So just unmute yourself and be free to ask the questions.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, hello.
Yes,
Sir, except the Polysun simulations, any other softwares are used to simulation of solar collectors? Only the Polysun software.
I'm sorry, what was your question exactly?
Except Polysun software, any other
Yes.
softwares are used to simulation of solar collectors?
Ah, okay. Well, we supply only Polysun. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
if anyone will having doubts, we will be sharing a feedback form. So just put up your questions over there also. So we will be contacting them personally. Or you can ask now also. Just we just unmute yourself and ask the question. I think so. Anyone? No one is having any doubts, so we can conclude here. Thank you for everyone for joining here.
Yes, also thank you from my side. Thank you very much for your interest, for your time. And I certainly hope that we will be in touch again soon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea, so for your precious time today. It was a valuable session. And
you're
thank you to all
welcome.
the participants who gave their precious time for today's webinar. If anyone having doubts, we have shared we have shared our feedback form. You can just put up your doubts over there. We will be contacting them personally.
Yes, great. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.